Now that we're on to my main questions, if you will, what do you think the number one issue is that is not being talked about in this election?
Almost everything. I don't hear any important issues being discussed in this election. We have the fiction.
What's the big one?
Well, the big one is, I'm torn between saying democracy and health of democracy in this country and climate change. Neither one's being talked about. And I don't think we can fix the climate crisis without a much better functioning democracy. So I'm torn on those two, which would be the most important single issue that's not being talked about.
Can I just add that here in Vancouver Centre, what I'm hearing from people is the question of where our economy is headed. Are we on the right track or not? People talk about the economy being the issue of the election, but for many people, and particularly people who are looking at voting Green, it's because we are speaking to a different path, getting on an economic path that's in sync with where the world is headed globally, which is green, instead of lagging behind, which we are doing and have been doing for decades, entrenching in the oil and gas economy, the expansion of the tar sands. I mean, we've been going the opposite direction of sustainability, and people want real jobs that are sustainable in the future.
Yeah, I noticed that you have offered in your platform, the only party that has actually so far, you've actually said specifically that you don't want tankers in the north coast of BC and you don't want them in the Burrows Inlet.
No.
Thanks for raising that.
Can you talk about tankers now? You're the only party to say no to Burrows Inlet.
It's a differentiating issue, there's no doubt about it. The Conservatives, of course, want tankers and pipelines and an expanded tar sands.
Right.
Sorry. Yeah, you'll find that the Liberals and the NDP talk about the importance of the tar sands. They are reluctant to really get themselves involved in that issue. Really come out honestly on it.
Well, they also don't like tankers in Hecate Strait, Dixon Strait, and so on. But don't talk.
But they are talking. They talk about a West Coast tanker ban, and they're not being honest in saying that only refers to the North Coast. The Liberals and the NDP are not on board for stopping the tankers that currently are loading up tar sands crude in the harbour of Vancouver, coming out that very risky passage and shipping the oil to China and
right
California.
By the Gulf Islands. And a lot of, and the potential right now, which is not being regulated, of massive expansion of the number of oil tankers following that route is not being talked about. But I would say the only reason, I don't disagree with Adriane, but I just say the reason I didn't say economy in my first answer to your question is the other parties say they're talking about the economy. The position we take on it and the issues we would raise would be quite a different perspective on the economy than what you hear from the other parties. But the national media and the other party leaders seem to have decided, because they ask me this question all the time, the premise is, since climate change isn't an issue, do you find it difficult? You wonder on what planet are they living that they don't think climate change is an issue? But that's not coming up from the other parties. It's certainly not coming up in the media. And there are an awful lot of issues that aren't coming up.
So
but when we talk about climate change, can we just what flows on from climate change? Are we talking about bringing up the Northern Gateway, for example?
It's everything.
Are we talking about the tar sands as a philosophical issue?
It's not a philosophical issue. The underpinnings of our program are that we modernize our economy by working towards the post-carbon future. A post-carbon future is...
How do you view the tar sands in, say, 25 years from now?
No, it should not. What we're calling for is a moratorium on expansion in the tar sands, the oil sands, that they don't get any bigger. We're talking about stopping all subsidies. That's an interesting thing, because I heard a ridiculous CBC coverage of Linda Duncan's writing the other day, where they actually said it's a hard sell for the NDP to call for an end to subsidies. Like, you wish they'd do their homework and know that Stephen Harper committed to end subsidies to the oil sands in the 2009 G20 in Pittsburgh. It's one of those international statements Canada makes, but we never deliver on it. So at some level of commitment, all federal political parties say they'll end subsidies to the oil and gas industry or end subsidies to the tar sands. They just haven't been willing to do it. So that's key. I mean, the bitumen out of the tar sands is likely to be produced for some time into the future. But the point is, it shouldn't be the whole focus of our energy policy. We need to shut down our coal-fired power plants across Canada. We need to ensure that we're actually moving aggressively towards energy efficiency and conservation, which is our single best opportunity to reduce greenhouse gases quickly and cost effectively. And we need to bring in renewables in a whole range of technologies and build our economy at the time we do this. So it's not an issue that can be treated in a silo, like it means this and this only, and it's something called environmental policy. It's fundamental to how we've designed our economic strategy, it's fundamental to our job creation strategy, and it's fundamental to rebalancing the Canadian economy so that we can deal with the productivity gap that's increasing vis-a-vis the US and actually have good paying manufacturing jobs re-established where they have been in decline, largely because of this skewing impact on the economy of only focusing on exporting crude.
How much time have you spent in Alberta, you guys?
Lots.